I tell you, there's so many jobs in Texas and nobody can fill them. I mean, these chicken places, you know, to fry some chicken, they're paying $15 an hour here in Texas. To fry some chicken? Are you kidding me? To drop some chicken in some oil and to serve it to someone, $15 an hour. I'm telling you, that's amazing. I hadn't seen that in this time. Since I've been here in Texas, going on 20 plus years, I have not seen, you know, these all of these help wanted everywhere. Job opportunities all over the place. You have to start somewhere, Mishpah. I would encourage you all to consider, reconsider, and if you're not happy where you're at, look to relocate. Look to relocate. $15 an hour to fry some chicken? Are you kidding me? Here in San Antonio. I was like, my goodness, that's great money. $15 an hour will go a long ways here in San Antonio because we don't live in like in New York to where the cost of living is high. The cost of living is not high here in San Antonio. I'll tell you that for a fact. So your money can stretch for you. So I would encourage you all to, you know, if you're not happy, I want all of you to be happy. I want all of you, that's my desire, for all of you to be happy. If you're not happy with your particular situation now, then you may need to reconsider and consider changing your situation to make it better for you. For the betterment of humanity, for the betterment of your family, for the betterment of yourself. Shadasha that Atara. Atara lives in Texas. Say, I love Texas. I give thanks to the God of Israel for dispersing us into these great nations where we're placed in. The Father put us into these nations. Not to be protesters, not to be anti-this, anti-that, but to be all-inclusive and open to all. Not closing doors, but opening doors. Bukashim. Thank you to the universes. And on that note, I'll close it up. Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom and welcome everybody into the room. This is going to be our new room, and give me a second because I think we'll kick. Okay, and I think this time, probably now I'm speaking into both rooms. If the other room can hear me, if you're in the old room, you need to find us into the new room, which is Empower Yourself with the words of Jesus, Yeshua. I encourage you to search for the room with the words Yeshua or Empower. One of these words, if you search for it, you should be able to find us. A lot of you are still logging into the other room. You should have got the memo last week when I did say that we're going to be opening a new room, and we will be logging into the new area today, which I did, and I have sent messages into the other room, but it looks like some people absolutely, yeah, Tuda for that, Eddie. So as Eddie is saying that he searched for the words Jesus and he saw the menorah and the Abraham Faith Bible logo and is able to find us in seconds. So, you know, just like that, search for the words Jesus and look for the menorah on the Abrahamic Faith Bible icon, and you should be able to click on that link and be in. Now, I am obviously, I've got the other room logged into my second device, laptop, and so I'm able to speak into both rooms, but again, this is only for today, so that those people who have entered the old room may be able to find us in the new room. And you can mark it favorite with the new client. The Paltalk has this new client in which you, on the top of your middle of your room, above this Paltalk logo, you have this little heart with the word follow. If you click on the follow, then this room will be saved in your profile somewhere, and you should be able to find us. Yeah, welcome Rabbi Michael, I think you found us at last. And so there are other people, I think they must be dozing off, because either they're dozing off or they're just logged in and disappeared, you know, for a break. Let me go make coffee. So that kind of funny. Okay, so let me give you the joke of the joke today, which I kind of found it kind of a little bit funny. So here's the joke. We'll kickstart with that first. During the Reformation, the Pope was urged to banish non-believers from Rome, which would have involved removing Rome's venerable Jewish community. The Pope resisted. They have lived here for centuries, he argued. We can't just kick them out. But his advisors insisted that the holy city must be rendered theologically pure. Well, let's at least give them an opportunity to demonstrate their knowledge of Christian theology, the Pope replied. So an emissary was dispatched to the Jewish quarter to invite the wisest Jewish elder to discuss Christian theology with the Pope on the pain of expulsion. The news threw the Jewish leaders into panic, since none of them knew anything about Christian theology, so they assumed they had no choice but to pack up and leave. Their meeting was about to break up when a voice spoke up from the back of the room. "What's the big deal?" said Moshe, the tailor. "I'll talk to the Pope." The elders were startled because Moshe knew nothing about Christian or Jewish theology. But assuming they had nothing to lose, they sent Moshe off to the Vatican. Since Moshe spoke no Latin and the Pope spoke no Yiddish, their entire interview was conducted in sign language. First, the Pope waved his arm back and forth over his head. Moshe responded by pointing to a spot on the floor at his feet. Next, the Pope raised one finger of his right hand. Moshe replied by raising two fingers of his right hand. Finally, the Pope reached beneath his priestly vestment and produced an orange. Moshe reached beneath his robe and produced a maza. With that, the interview concluded. The Pope's advisors rushed in to learn his verdict. "These people must stay," the Pope declared. "They are totally conversant with Christian theology. First, I waved my arm to indicate that Christianity embraces the entire world." He pointed to the floor, in effect replying, "Yes, but its center is here in Rome." Next, I held up one finger to indicate that we believe in one God. He raised two fingers, saying, "Yes, but you also believe in the Son and the Holy Ghost." Finally, I produced an orange to indicate that the world is round. He produced a maza to suggest that it appears flat. Meanwhile, back to the Jewish quarter, everyone was preparing to leave. When Moshe returned, "You can unpack your bags," he announced. "I told the Pope a thing or two." Asked to explain, Moshe replied, "First, the Pope waved his arm to say, 'The Jews will get out.' I pointed to the floor and saying, 'Oh no, you don't. We are staying right here.' Next, he pointed his finger at me saying, 'I'll poke your eye out.' I pointed two fingers at him saying, 'I'll poke both of your eyes out.' And then we ate lunch." So, by the way, that was a joke. And I think it was a very appropriate joke because actually, in reality, this did happen. There was an actual edict that was made for the Jews to leave Spain at one time. Actually, it didn't quite happen in Rome. It happened in Spain. And there are also parts of Rome too, where the Jews and the Muslims were told to be removed from the nation. And there were then debates conducted, and there was a debate with the Jews involved, in which the Jews actually won the debate. That is actually very, very true. The Jews had a debate with the so-called Roman Catholic theology and clergymen, and they lost their debate. And it's also true that the Pope that was around at that time did favor the Jews to stay. So there is truth in this particular joke. Rabbi Harania, if you're listening in to me, I am actually speaking from the new room, and you're probably in the old room. So you may want to log into the new room. If you could either follow the link, and if the link doesn't work, please search for the words Jesus, and then look for the icon of the menorah on the Abrahamic Faith Bible, and you should be able to find the new room. So there are still some people in the old room. Please look to exit that room and enter the new room, which everybody else so far have found. Of course, they've been stumbling along as well to find it. I think I can only tell of two people that didn't have problem this morning. One was Rabbi Kefa, and the second one was Eddie. These are the only two people that didn't have problem. Everybody else stumbled to find the room. So, okay, I guess not a great going. And Rabbi Kefa was talking earlier about, if you missed it, he was talking about the great state of Texas. The Texas, I believe, did you say that it's become the second? Because I remember last year it was the third largest state, or if we can call it a country, obviously it's not, but we call it a country. Texas is like a country by itself, is producing the largest amount of oil in comparison to all the OPEC nations. OPEC is all the different nations that join this little club, and they decide how much oil to produce. Texas by itself is one of the largest producers of oil, and increasing. So right now I think it's number 2. I think Rabbi Kefa was saying it's number 2, and last year was number 3, and it could even go to number 1. So Saudi Arabia is right now at the number 1 producer of oil per day, millions of barrels. I believe they produce 5 million of barrels a day, and that fluctuates up and down. So having said that, that's the status of play with Texas. And what Rabbi Kefa was saying, I'll reiterate the point that if you like to migrate, immigrate, move, etc., and you want to make a new home, then Texas is a beautiful state to live in. Of course, it's a little on the hot side, so make sure you got your air on. And or the other state to stay on a little cooler side is Florida. Florida, Pensacola side is on the cooler side. But if you go to Rabbi Michael's area, I believe that's Tampa, or if you go to Orlando, I think those areas are hot. They're about the same as Texas. If Tampa's temperature is hitting at 100, I can guarantee you that Pensacola is at 90, always 10 degrees less. So we have it slightly on the cooler side, and Texas is usually 100 as well. I mean, if Tampa is 100, Texas is definitely 100, if not, one degree up. So those two places are hot. I mean, that's the hot side of Florida, but I like a little on the cooler side, which is this side of Florida, which is right next to Alabama, and it's next to the water as well. So, water's not that far from where I live in Pensacola, Florida. It's only about 30 minutes away. We have 2 beaches 30 minutes away. We have another beach 40 minutes away. So we connect to 2 beaches in Alabama, and we connect to 1 beach in Pensacola, Florida itself. So, but it's a great little state, great little city to live. Quiet, military town, very well protected. Lots of military activity in that town. But of course, all military towns, they usually are well looked at and protected, generally speaking. And the other thing is that if you like to be near Disney World, then of course you can go over to Orlando, Tampa. Those kind of places are Disney places. And if you want to be near a lot of Mexicans, and you want to be near Gringoland, then Gringoland, Mexican land, that'll be Texas. So Texas, you'll find lots of Mexican food. You'll be able to get lots of Mexican wares. If you like that kind of thing, if you like hot food, because I find Mexicans in America, most Mexicans I've been coming across in America are the watered down version. They don't even eat spices. So I'm kind of like a bit miffed about that. What's going on over here? So if you want real Mexicans, I think you're gonna have to go to San Antonio, Texas for that, because they do eat spices over there. As I've experienced down there, some of the spicy food. So if you like spicy food, then Texas is your place. If you like watered down Mexicans, maybe then the other parts of America. I'm not sure about San Diego though. I mean, California end. That may be another place where Mexicans do eat their regular, spicy food. I mean, these guys can chew through habaneros, and I'm finding some Mexicans who have a hard time eating. Kind of laughing. They have a hard time eating that hot sauce from Walmart. I was like, couldn't believe it. I could chew through a habanero as well, but then again, that's me. I was like, what happened to these real Mexicans who are supposed to chew through habaneros? But you don't find them over here for some reason. So, but you do find them in Texas. But I'm not encouraging you to eat habaneros because they're very hot, and they can have a dire effect on your stomach. Are you going to pay more for avocados? Well, avocados, if it depends, which are the growing states for avocados, and if they are produced in certain states where there is an issue of a lot of rain and water and growth, then yes, you could pay more for them. But again, Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I think a lot of the food that grows and comes over to the East Coast comes from, it does come from California actually, believe it or not. And then these other states, Midwest, they're more producing wheat and soybeans and corn. I mean, Ohio's more into soybeans, corn, and so you can expect the soybean corn prices to go up this year because these guys are having a hard time planting, and then what they planted, there's a lot of water around, so that's I guess they are looking into that. They have to deal with nature, and anyhow, Baruch Shem Yahweh. So it's a Shabbat. Hopefully you guys had a wonderful festival last week, and so now we move on to I believe our next festival is going to be the fall festivals, but they are a little bit ways to go. The Rosh Hashanah is still a little bit ways to go, and so we'll wait for that Feast of Trumpets, as it's called. And our Parsha today is Parsha's Korah, and Numbers chapter 16. We'll look at that in a second. But before that, I wanted to give you a little testimony. I just want to double check nobody's in the other room. I wanted to give you a little testimony of what happened yesterday. This is kind of funny. I was having a discussion yesterday with somebody in the East, and there was a dog barking in the background. It was like continuously barking. I think it was their early morning hours, and probably the people that are going in the street, the dog was barking at those people, more than likely because they were going to work, and the dog was kind of barking at them. And so what I said to the person, I said, what if I can shut that dog's mouth and send him away? And the person said to me, are you going to do that? I said, you watch what I'm going to do. And they said, I said, okay, what if I can do that? They're like, they never heard of this. I can sit over here 7,000 miles away and do that. I said, okay, I'm going to do that. Watch and learn. So I did. I raised my hand and I told the dog to shut up and go away. And the dog walked away. And the person said to me, what kind of magic are you using over there? I said, what kind of magic are you doing? The dog has gone away. I said, well, I am the Kohen in the gate. You don't know what the Kohen means. So I said, that's what the authority that God has given me. And so this is basically a testimony of the God of Israel, Baruch Shem Yahweh, that the power that God has given His people, that we can utilize and use. So with that in mind, it's very important to understand that we are dealing with Parsha's Korah. Korah is a particular Parsha where we had another Levite in the gate at the time of Moses' exodus from Egypt. We read in chapter 16 of the book of Numbers, now Korah the son of Yishari the son of Kohath the son of Levi, and Dathan and Abiram the sons of Eliav, and On the son of Peleth sons of Reuben took men, and they rose up before Moses with certain of the children of Israel, 250 princes of the assembly, famous in the congregation of men of renown. And they gathered themselves together against Moshe and against Aaron, and said to them, you take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy, every one of them, and Yahweh is among them. Wherefore then lift you up yourselves above the congregation of Yahweh. And when Moshe heard it, he fell upon his face, and he spoke to Korah and to all his company, saying, even tomorrow Yahweh will show who are his and who is holy, and will cause him to come near to him, even him whom he has chosen will he cause to come near to him. This do take your censers, Korah and all the company, and put fire therein, and put incense in them before Yahweh tomorrow. And it shall be that the man whom Yahweh will choose, he shall be holy. You take too much upon you, you sons of Levi. And Moshe said to Korah, hear, I pray you, you sons of Levi. It might seem a small thing to you that the Elohim of Israel has separated you from the congregation of Israel to bring you near to himself, to do the service of the tent of Yahweh, and to stand before the congregation to minister to them. And he has brought you near to him, and all your brethren, the sons of Levi, with you, and yet you seek the priesthood also. For which cause both you and all your company are gathered together against Yahweh, and what is Aaron, that you murmur against him. Let's just full stop over there. And I think it's very pertinent to understand that what's being said over here, I think it kind of gets missed by a lot of people. Notice that there were other people of Levite stock. And notice also that what is being challenged here is that Aaron and his sons are being challenged here with Moses by Korah, who was a Levi, by the way, of the same tribe. And he's basically saying, you guys, you take it upon yourself too much. You are all priest and high priest, and your sons have they are the Kohens in the gate. What the heck, this should belong to me as well. I also have the right to take this upon myself. You're not the only ones close to God. So he's basically challenging what God had commanded versus what these people thought was possible. So he joined some noble 250 noblemen, princes of other tribes, people who were renowned, people who were wealthy, people who were known in the community. He gathered them, a multitude, against Moses, Aaron, and Aaron's sons. That's basically what happened. It was like a mutiny on the bounty. And he turned around and said, now we're going to show you who can really be priests. And look what it says here in the scripture. It says that they were fighting against Aaron and Moses for the priesthood, meaning that not all Levites are priests. If you get the gist, what the gist of the whole affair was, not all Levites are priests. In other words, there is a difference between a Levite and an Aaron's son. Aaron and Aaron's son and a Levite, there is a difference. And that is a difference that was being challenged, in that it was being said that how can Aaron and his sons only be the priests? Why can't I be the priest? I'm from Levi as well. I'm from the same tribe. But at that point, it wasn't given. You see, the only people who can really be called Kohen in the Hebrew language, meaning priest, are only Aaron's sons, or Aaron at that point. Now, Moses had acted as a kind of pseudo high priest for Israel until he inaugurated his brother. And then from brother to brother's sons. And then from brother's sons, it was going to follow generation to generation. Now, two of Aaron's sons, as you know, were killed by the God of Israel for things that they did that wasn't seen appropriate. They lit up fire to their incense, to their censers, which wasn't commanded, and it wasn't seen as appropriated. So they were instantly killed on the spot. And Aaron was told to keep his peace, keep your shalom. He did not cry, he did not wail, he stayed quiet, because he realized that his sons shouldn't have done that. But he still had two more sons. Now, the other two sons that were left is where the Kohanim descended down through those lines. And they branched out into two separate, they branched out into a number of different Kohanim, but at least two became prominent. And those two that became prominent were, one's the sons of, if you remember, the sons of Eli. It talks about in the book of Samuel about a high priest called Eli, and to him Hannah comes, and she is looking for a son, and she's there, standing, kind of whispering in her prayer, and he asks, what you murmuring about? Have you been drinking alcohol? And she says, no, I'm praying for a son. And then he grants her the son, and then Samuel is born, and she then allots Samuel to the high priest to, learn the ways of the temple, and he then becomes a famous prophet Samuel, and he's from a Levite stock, by the way. And so what we see here is that right at this point is that right now only two branches of the real Kohanim were left. One was the line of where the Eli's sons came out of. That was one line. And that line was rejected by Yahweh later down the road, because when Eli's sons conducted some misbehavior in the temple services or in the tabernacle services, then Yahweh said, you know what, you guys are no longer going to be in charge now. I'm going to make the other son and his descendants in charge. And by the way, that son and the descendants were the sons of Zadok. And that is the line that Yahweh has established for the end of days. In other words, latter days from that time, which is upon us today. So from today to the restoration of Israel, all the tribes, the sons that are in charge in the Kohanim field are the sons of Zadok. And the others have been kind of pushed back. They've been held back, and they are not being used as actively as one might think. Because although the other sons are definitely Kohanim as well, bloodline Kohanim, but they're just not being used as much in Yahweh's kingdom at this point in history. And so therefore you can see that not all Kohanim and not all Levites are the same. They're not categorized the same. They're all different, and they all have different roles, and some are just kind of shifted back, and they don't really have any roles to play at this point in history. So they will just be shifted back, and they just be held, and they'll only be active when the third temple is going to be restored. That's when they will be activated again. But if you read the book of Ezekiel, the prophet Ezekiel, you realize that the ones that are active at this point in history are the sons of Zadok. Now there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there. Hey, how come the sons of Zadok are chosen and not the others? And maybe the Jews changed their scriptures. You see, a lot of these so-called conspiracy theorists will come with all sorts of theories that maybe the Jews deliberately changed it to sons of Zadok. But it's not like that. The Jews, or present Jews, Ashkenazi, as they keep blaming, Ashkenazis did not change anything regarding the sons of Zadok. The sons of Zadok, which is where my line comes from, are the line that was chosen by King David long before any Ashkenazi ever became a believer. So, because if you know your history, you know the Ashkenazis, majority of which are converts out of Khazaria. So they are the Khazar Empire where they converted out of into Poland. Then they shifted into Poland, Europe, all over the place. That's where the present day Jewry of Ashkenazim came out of. And the other people, as you know, the other Jewry that was, we know as the Middle Eastern Jews, Persian Jews, or for instance the Jews out of Yemen, you know that they came from the other lines of Jewry. And they are not, they're not European, they're not classed as European Jewry. So they are classed as Sephardim or Sephardic and Middle Eastern, and so they are a mixture. And some of these were converts because they were converted in wholesale in Yemen years ago, 5th century BC, somewhere there. Others were actually bloodline. So there's the bloodline have mixed with the Yemenite Jewry that were converted, and then today they're a mixed bunch. There's a bloodline, there's mix. And the same way with the Ashkenazi, they may have married into some Sephardim as well, so they also got a little bit mixed as well. So, as you know, the original Jews, as we call the original Israelites, they got a little bit mixed, black and white. Brown, black, white, they're all mixed now. So, it's very difficult today to pick a person and point your finger and say, he is bloodline, because you're going to find that majority of them are mixed, and they'll come in all colors. So this is why it's difficult to identify based on color alone today in 2019. So that's basically a little bit of the history of our present or past history. Now, I wanted to look at the Korah incidents, because we can draw on this incident and we can learn from this incident. Because what happened when Korah had instigated this little revolt against the initiated real priesthood by his fellow men, he actually did not succeed. As you read later in the chapter, he and the rest of the families were killed by God. They all died. the earth opened up and swallowed them all. So, 250 princes and their families, Korah and his family, except his sons. His sons actually repented. So they were not killed with the rest of the people. They were saved. And there was also one other person that was saved that is mentioned later in scripture. And so apart from that, everybody else went into the earth, and the earth swallowed them up like a grave, into Sheol, the place that is kept there for, I guess, for spirits that are restrained for whatever time that God determines. So having said that, that's basically the story of that. And what do we learn from that? What we learn is several things, but I'm going to come back and draw a little statement with what the words of Yeshua, Jesus of Nazareth, said, and we'll look at that later, which is, I'm going to draw from John chapter 7 verse 24, but before I do, I want to look at just this, what this means. And I wanted to point out that you must be very careful today in your life. We all have families, and we all have relatives, and our relatives come mixed bag. Some are negative, some are positive, and some are downright rude and negative. So it depends what kind of relatives you have, and it does affect you and your personal dealings with these relatives. Because what we saw with Israel, and when they came out of Egypt, you notice that they were number one, docile. And I was drawing this analogy between Colorado and Israel in the Egypt exile. They were saying that Colorado has produced over $1 billion tax revenue from selling this, what do they call it? Marijuana, I guess. And they're selling this over there since 2014, and they said that they've generated over $1 billion revenue. But I said this. I said that that's very well. It's been 5 years now since they're doing this as a legal thing. But one thing I said, and this is something that you're going to find yourselves over time, is that marijuana smoking makes you lazy and it makes you docile. And if you want to see the evidence of that, then go back to Egypt, our people, and look at our people's condition in Egypt. They were docile, and they had become like what I just described, lazy. So, the women were working, and some of the men were working, and they were forced to work, but they refused, a lot of them refused to leave Egypt. And what people don't know, they watched the famous movie, The 10 Commandments, and what they don't realize is that 80% of our people never left, and they died in Egypt. That's what nobody ever tells them. And so, I'm not saying this because I, dislike marijuana. Marijuana has its uses. It's very good for diseases. It's very good in other areas of people's lives in which they are struggling with disease, pain, and suffering. It has many benefits, but I can tell you from first-hand experience. I have one member of my family that I know in England that has been smoking this, what they call weed, marijuana, or whatever titles they give it. I know this person's been doing this for over 20 years. He is such a lazy man. He's very lazy. In fact, at one time, he became very violent towards his wife. He was beating her black and blue. He was punching her. And when I kind of sat with him and asked him what was causing him to do that, because he wasn't really a violent person. And he told me, what I learned was that he started to, experiment with marijuana, then cannabis. From cannabis, he went on to psychotropic, other things. And he became very violent. Then eventually he had to have treatment, but even in spite of all the treatments he took, he stayed on this marijuana thing, and to this day, that is a lazy man. Because every time I go to England, I hear stories about what he's up to, and I can tell you that marijuana will make you lazy. And I don't know, what your experiences are at your end. So this is why I don't encourage you to all start smoking marijuana, or start traveling to Colorado to experience your weed experience. And I didn't even know this, and this was news to me. And somebody said, somebody used the word Mary Jane, and I said MJ, and I said, who is MJ? And they said that's another title for marijuana, Mary Jane. So that was news to me. I learned that last week basically. So having said that, my side, the priesthood, by the way, did use some form of cannabis in their incense. That is affirmative. But we were not sitting there smoking it like most people think. So, you find that in most religions today, you find that they have these liberal sects of religions, Christianity, Islam, Sufism in Islam, and probably, liberal Judaism. They all sit there and smoking their cigarettes, rolled up with marijuana in there, and they're all like dozed out. So, you kind of get this kind of thing going on. But that is true. That happens with these so-called sects. But having said that, you did not find the priesthood of Israel doing that, because we were just we were very steadfast, and we were very disciplined, and we only used the product where we were advised to use it, in perfume and in incense, which was then used to burn around the temple area, or the old tabernacle. So having said that, that's where we were. So what do we learn? We learn that if you're finding that these medical marijuana, if it helps you in a disease, then by all means, you're better off using that than using medicines that are not going to help you, and you've been using them for years and years and they haven't helped you. But having said that, there are other forms of treatment that can be given to rid of diseases. There was a pregnant woman, I have to give you another testimony of this. There was a pregnant woman 7,000 miles away that I was brought to my attention, that had pains in her stomach and had pains in her legs. And I simply advised the person what to do at a distance and to follow through with that particular technique I gave them. And they applied that technique, and the woman's pains left her. So that is how powerful some of my medicine is, from a distance I can use. But my point is simply this, that Western medicine, for a quick kill is wonderful. You have a pain, you pop a pill and boom, boom, and your pain is gone. Wonderful. But it does not deal with the effect of the root causes. For the root causes, we have to deal with it other methods. And so this is where the other methods come in, and they are much more effective in dealing with pain management and dealing with the disease management. So having said that, this is why in the East we are more or less attuned to the other methods rather than this method of disease control, because what we find is that a lot of the times it doesn't work. These, pill popping doesn't work. Yes, Yemisia, I'm afraid that at a lot of these concerts you will find MJ present and very active. So yes, that's basically where it's very popular. And so therefore this is the situation. So one thing that we learn from this scenario, going back to old Israel, Egypt, and looking at what happened to our people and how so many died, and how the ones that came out were so docile that they didn't want to fight a war. So every time something happened, the Levites had to lead the war and to make these people fight, because they were afraid, and they were like, no, we don't want to fight, we want peace, and let us go back. And the other thing you find, that they were whinging all the time, they were whining all the time, they were complainers. All the time they were complaining. And so you find that a lot of these things are recorded in our scriptures, holy scriptures, that they were complainers. And so today, we all have family members that are complainers and whiners. So one thing that we don't want to do is live amongst, in other words, with. When I say amongst, with, in the same house. We don't want to live with complainers in the same house. Because the problem is going to be that if you're trying to attain your desires, your wishes, better your life, these complainers and negative people are going to have toxic personalities. And their toxic personalities are going to drive you to nowhere. Basically, you're not gonna, they're gonna become a stumbling block to you, to your successes. So therefore, it is very important to understand this and to learn not to be with such people. So either you have to remove yourself, or they have to go, one or the other. So usually ends up you having to remove yourself from such places. If you want to be successful in your life, you definitely do not want to be with complainers, whiners, whingers, negativity type people, because they're going to hamper you and your efforts to succeed and be successful in what you do. So you have to isolate yourself, and you have to separate yourself in order to be the successful person that you are. And I want to say this because I want to show you by example certain things, because I can show you by example in scripture when Israel was told that God is going to part the sea. And Israel, as you know, majority of Israel refused to believe that. They were fearful, they were fear-mongering in the Israelite camp, because Pharaoh was approaching with his army, wanted to kill them all, didn't want them let them escape. And then he changed his mind. First he let them go, then he doesn't want to let them go, and now he's come after them. If you're not going to work for me, you're not going to work for nobody else kind of mentality. And so God said, I'm going to open the Red Sea. Now the Red Sea was, as you know, a lot of water over there. And people had never seen this incident happen before. It was very hard for them to believe that God can actually make a roadway in the sea. But the only people who believed, the only people who we saw in the scripture that believed, were the people of the priesthood, people of Moses, and there was one other person that is mentioned that believed, Nakshan, and he jumped into the water. So he jumped into the water believing that God is any minute about to split the sea. And it was only when he started to drown, which means it didn't take 5 minutes to split the sea, it took a little longer. It was only when he's about to drown, then God split the sea. My point is this, that in spite of seeing the miracles before at the mountain in Egypt, these people still had a deaf ear. They just, or and a blind eye. They saw with one eye, and the other eye they just didn't believe it. So they were very disbelieving people, and they were very negative people. And so what happened, their negativity and their toxicity was affecting other people. They were also becoming toxic and negative. So what happened, these people had to be stopped from entering the land of Israel. Hence why we find that none of these people, bar two people, meaning Joshua and meaning the other one was Caleb, those are the only two people that actually entered the land. And so therefore what we find is that why did God allow that to take place is because of this negativity and toxicity of these other people. Now if you imagine, if God had allowed these elders or these first generation to enter the land of Israel, they would have made the whole second generation toxic and negative as well. So they had to be removed, and they were never allowed to enter the land. Hence why it's very important to understand is that today, if you have situations where you have friends or family members that are carrying the same kind of viewpoints, that you need to really, watch, how much time you spend with them. It's not very wise to do so, spending too much time with such people. You'd be better off spending time alone, finding yourself, finding your desires and goals, what you want in your life. You obviously have written them down, and then you'll be able to work on them once you are on your own. Now, let me show you is religion. You see, religion will also cause you to do things and to have thinking mentality that will cause you stumbling blocks. And I'm going to show you that firsthand through an example of Yeshua, the Messiah, the Master Yahushua. He actually gives an example in the book of John in chapters 7 and verses 21. Let me actually open that up in the Abrahamic Faith Bible, and I can then maybe go to that and read a little bit from that. John chapter 7, if you have your Bibles open or in front of you, it may be one that you want to look at, and we will examine this shortly. And you're going to find some interesting things in here you may not have discovered before. In John chapter 7 verse 21, it says, Yehoshua answered and said to them, I have done one work, and you all marvel. Moshe therefore gave to you circumcision, not because it is of Moshe, but of the Ahavot, the fathers, and you on the Sabbath days circumcise a man. If a man on the Sabbath day receives circumcision, that the Torah of Moshe should not be broken, are you angry at me, because I have made a man whole on the Sabbath day? Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Now let's come back to this circumcision bit. There's a lot in here that's hidden away. Number one, now let me illustrate to you the religious viewpoint. The religious viewpoint today, Sabbatarian viewpoint, Judaism generally, of all types, mostly, all types meaning Orthodox types, they usually will restrict you from doing anything on the Sabbath. You're not allowed to work, you're not allowed to light a fire for cooking or for working. In fact, these are not the injunctions given are different to what's been penalized people on. So, and I will illustrate the point in a second. Then they'll say to you, you're not even in Israel. There is a toilet paper, or you might call over here, what do you call it, paper towels. So these are paper towels. So Judaism does not permit you to even break a toilet roll off the toilet on a Sabbath day. Is considered breaking of the Sabbath. So what they do, they have these rolls that are already pre-cut, and they are called kosher rolls, and they sell those to the people. That's how far Judaism goes to restrict you from things on the Sabbath. Judaism also will not allow you to carry your car key, and we're talking about just car key here. You're not allowed to carry a car key from inside of the house to outside of the house. They call the inside of the house internal domain, outside is the outer domain. You're not allowed to carry from one domain to the other to visit your car. Like if you forgot your telephone in the car and it happened to be the Sabbath, you're not allowed to go from your inside of the house to the car door and open the door with your key, because that is considered a violation of the Sabbath and breaking the Sabbath. Now, what did Jesus the Messiah say? He basically said that this was all mumbo-jumbo religion. None of this was true. Because what he said to the people, that I made somebody whole, he healed somebody. Now, of course, mixing the earth with a little water was qualified by Judaism of the day as, for instance, work. And he was making a right claim that is actually not work. Now, when you circumcise somebody, ancient times now, let's talk about circumcision and what a physician has to do. You have to cauterize a needle, a knife. How do you cauterize a knife? Anybody who's done any medicine will know that you have to light a fire. So you'd have to light a fire to cauterize a knife, because you're going to cut foreskin. Apart from that, you're going to have to do a few other things. You're going to need alcohol, you're going to need some kind of, in those days they probably had all these elements available. We didn't have a modern micro-type machine in which they just put their knife and cauterize it. They had to do it manually, so they had to light a fire. Lighting a fire was allowed for circumcision. Then cutting the skin was allowed. That's like operation. That was allowed. Bleeding was allowed, because you're going to have a little bit of blood come out of the son or the boy that's been circumcised. And so therefore, give me a moment please, let me just deal with this spammer. Today for that, Rabbi Kefa. So therefore, my point is this. As far as lighting up the fire was concerned, you can see it right here that they were lighting a fire. What did Jesus of Nazareth say? That it is permitted to light a fire to do this. The Sabbath is not broken, the law of Moses is not broken. Yet Judaism tells you today that you're not supposed to light the fire for cooking on the Saturday, which leaves you where exactly? With religious theology and religious dogma, which is totally not true. So as far as lighting the fire was concerned, if you were lighting the fire to maybe melt metal, or I don't know, you were selling corn on the street and you lit a fire, that's one thing. Obviously that is not allowed, because that is considered work, and selling is considered part of work and business. That bit on the Sabbath is not permitted. But if you wanted to light a fire to warm up your chicken on Saturday, you actually can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But this is what the point that Jesus illustrated, that you allow a physician to light a fire, to cauterize the knife, and to have a child circumcised, and he bleeds, and you cut his skin, and that is work. Technically, you allow all of that, and the law of Moses is not broken. Yet when I heal somebody, you say that I have broken the law. In other words, he was saying that you are hypocrites because you don't know how to operate under the law of Moses. You are hypocritically operating. And so what had happened at Jesus' time, a lot of rabbinic law had come in that was totally anti-Torah. That was totally opposite to Torah. And as I said a number of times before, today's Judaism does not operate on Torah laws. It operates on a made-up Judaism that was invented by Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, a famous rabbi of the 1st century, whose grave can be found in the north of Israel. And so he was the one, just prior to the destruction of the temple, he wanted to reinvent a new kind of Judaism in which you could operate outside the temple. So that's basically the Judaism you have. So if you're, if some of you out there love to go into Judaism, then that's the Judaism you're going to get. You do not get the laws that our forefather Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob operated in. You do not get those laws because they are not being used. They are put to one side, to the shelf. And new laws have been invented in which you find this fighting and arguments. You find those fighting and arguments in the pages of the New Testament, where they are all arguing against Jesus. These rabbis of the 1st century, they're arguing against Jesus, and they're condemning him, and they're saying he's got a demon, and as he's going around healing people and doing the things, they are condemning him for various things. So reason being that these people were not, these people that were opposing Yeshua, they were not operating in the laws of God. They're just operating in man's law. And you're going to find that. So a lot of the time religion by itself will become a stumbling block as well. A lot of you are going to discover that if you look at churches today, you're going to find that they do not teach you how to better your lives. They simply teach you to come into church, pay your tithes, and take the sermon from the pastor, and that's about it. You just attendance, repair of the church, making a better building, making sure the pastor's salary is paid, and making sure the numbers are up, making sure that you go and you distribute the tracts that they give you. So it's all organized religion. But as far as the truth is concerned, the truth is concealed. They do not teach you the truth. If you went today to the church and said to them, hey, I discovered that I could apply certain laws, the perfect law that James spoke about, that Jesus spoke about, I can apply certain of those laws and I can better my life. Hey, I have a car. Hey, I have a wonderful job. And they're going to tell you that you are the devil. They're going to tell you that you're listening to the devil and you are the devil. So they're going to start calling you names, and they're going to start calling you cult, and they're going to start saying all sorts of things that just as Jesus endured, and Jesus went on to say that if it happened to me, it will happen to you. In other words, if you follow the laws as Yeshua followed, it will happen to you, that you'll have these people chasing your tail and telling you that you're not doing the things according to what they believe. So it'll become a slanging match. So it is imperative to understand that most religions today are so far away from God that, my goodness, if God had to descend down here as a man, He will be even surprised what happened to the earth. What happened to all these people? Why are they so? Why are they all changed? So we have to understand that it is very pertinent to know that these are the two positions. These are the two things that we are shown in Scripture. We are shown the side of Israel when they came out of Exodus, how negative they were, majority of them. Then we are shown the other side in New Testament, where the original laws had been replaced, overlapped with men's laws or traditions, what they call traditions, and God's name was, hidden away, and everything was kind of changed, and nothing seemed to be working. So when Jesus speaks about bringing the nation to a restoration through peace, they were all, what the heck is he talking about? What do you mean that we can bring the nation to winning our battles through peace? They couldn't believe it. Yet that was the solution. The solution was they could have all sat down and they could have all visualized together. They could have all meditated together, and they could have become a mastermind, powerful group. And they could have thrown this nation of the Romans straight out of Israel by using their internal power. But they didn't do that, because only one person understood it. And even the disciples did not understand that power. So Yeshua, later when Yeshua was put to death and resurrected, then the disciples understood some of that power, that it could be utilized. But whilst he was alive, they were also, ducking and diving, and didn't understand what he was telling them and how he was able to do all these things. So the point being that God has given you certain abilities that you can better your lives, and you should. You should definitely do that. So don't feel yourself helpless. You're not helpless. You are, all able to accomplish all your dreams. It's within your reach. It is within your remit to do that. Now, my job here is to assist you, help you, where you get stuck, where you're not sure, where you need, certain prayers and encouragement. Then that's where I can come in and assist you with that. But apart from that, most of the things you should be able to do for yourself. Because there will be time, of course, when you need guidance, when you need help, and that's where I will be able to do so for you. So to guide you, to make sure that you get it right, and make sure that the words that you're using are correct, make sure that the methods you're using are followed correctly, then there should be no problem in what you do. That's where the priesthood comes in. The priesthood's idea is not to overpower people or to confuse them. Their idea from God's point is that they understood the law very well, and they became people to teach the application of the law. So my point here is to make you understand the application of it, so that you can become successful. And if you're successful, of course, we're talking about each person is attached to a family. You have a wife, you have children, sons and daughters. So when you become successful, your children, your wife, they look up to you. And so to them, you become their, hero, so to speak. Like their leader, their hero. So they need somebody as a model to look up to. And so you become that model for them. But of course, you have to apply the principles that have been given you in order to be successful. Now, it does take perseverance. It does take a little time. Nothing will happen in one day. So you have to have patience. So if you don't have patience, you're going to struggle to bring things to pass. So one thing I encourage you to do is, I say this to people all the time, off and on, is that when they do the meditation, they first must do a cleanup. Because, I have a student in the East, and he was struggling a lot with a lot of negativity in his house. Between his mother, his brother, the brother's wife, and all that going on. A lot of negativity. And he was struggling, because he told me that he was struggling to do any kind of visualization and any kind of meditation, because he just felt that there was a lot of negativity in their home. So I had to instruct him what to do in order to slowly root his house out of negativity. So it's a process of time. And it's not going to happen immediately in one day. It's a process, and you have to be instructed in how to do it and what to do, so that you can bring your house into normality, and then you can start to practice what you desire to do. This is why I usually say to people is that what you should do is you should one second, I think I've still got people entering the other room, and let me just put a message up. So what you should do is you should not be disheartened, because there will be times you'll be like, well, nothing is happening. Is this stuff really working? Stuff is always working, but it's just you got to be patient and you got to persist. Perseverance. When a person, any person, who wants to be something in his life, they don't get there straight away. I mean, there was a interview, there was a testimony I read of this boxer, which spoke about that this boxer, before he became the world champion, Mike Tyson, before Mike Tyson became the world champion, this was a testimony written in the book, Homeless to Billionaire, and he said in that book that when he spoke to Mike Tyson and he asked him that, when did you realize that you will become a world champion? He said at 14. He said, I was 14 years old and I realized I'm going to become a world champion, and I just worked on it. He said, then I saw myself fighting a lot of fights and winning a lot of fights. I saw myself doing that in my vision. And he said, I did that every day until eventually I got there. So from the time of 14 to when he became the heavyweight champion of the world, that's what Mike Tyson did. But he said, I trained constantly trained. He didn't give up training. He didn't say from one year to the next, oh, it's not happening. Oh, I'm not becoming the champion. And then, so therefore, he continued training. And he never gave up until he got there. So my point is this, that you're going to come into your life, there's going to be times when you're going to have difficulties, you're going to come across problems, and you're going to be like, oh, I don't know why this is not working for me. You might be thinking like that. This is not working for me. What do I do? Am I doing something wrong? And I need some advice and help. And of course, there will be times that you will need advice and help. There may be times you are doing things wrong. And believe me, I have found so many people doing things wrong. So many people. And I had to correct them in how to do it right. So there will be times like that when you'll be doing something that will totally be off and wrong. And when you're off and wrong, it means that two things. Either you never get there, or it takes forever to get there. Those of you who are in the old room, please take the note of the link and get to the link, please, or type the words Jesus in your search and look for the menorah in the picture of the Bible, because you're in the wrong room. We no longer operate in the old room. We operate in the new room. And so you should be able to join the other members. So if you come in late, please do look at that. Read the information there, that will help you. So as I said, is that when you do need help, you will need to ask. You'll need to write me an email, or you need to send me a telephone number or something, so I can talk to you to assist you best I can in that endeavor, because mentorship is very, very important in success. Because when you're stuck without mentorship, you're going to find it difficult to move ahead. You're going to find absolutely difficult, and you're going to find that you might be repeating something over and over again, but maybe it's helping you, maybe it's not helping you. Difficult to tell without actually knowing about the actual thing you're trying to achieve. So it's so very critical that at that point in your history or process, that you do make contact and ask. If you are stumbling somewhere, you must ask the question how to do something. If you don't ask, then I won't be able to assist you, or Rabbi Kefa for that matter. If you don't ask, we cannot help you. So this is why it's important to ask. And also rabbis in Texas, I think there are other rabbis there that probably don't know about the room change. So please make sure that they are aware of the room change, that we are no longer in the old room, we're in the new one. So, having said that, that is what I wanted to say about what Yeshua, Jesus of Nazareth, was trying to teach people. But a lot of the times, people are so dogmatic about what they know that they're not paying attention. They're not listening to what God has to say on the matter of things. So it is so critical that you look at everything. When you find that something is not working as you perceive it not working, or maybe you get an intuition that something is not right, then you will be able to ask and assist yourself. One of the things that my student was struggling over there in the East, and he asked me that he was struggling a lot with concentrating, focusing. So I told him what he needed to do was he needed to take the... Oh, absolutely, Olivia. The question that Olivia is asking is whether disciples influenced by other rabbis while following the teachings of Yeshua. They absolutely 100% were. That's why they were all over the place, like, headless chickens. They did not fully follow the teachings of Yeshua in his lifetime. So they kept going back to the old. So this is why, Shabbat Shalom to you, Hadassah. So please mark this room and click on the heart symbol, top center of your room. It says follow, so you know which room to find next week. You turn up into this room. And so, as I was saying, that it is very important that they did not follow the teachings of Yeshua properly, and hence why they kept stumbling. And they kept falling back, and they kept going over to the other people, and they kept, being in between two different groups, two different camps. So it is imperative. So as I was telling you about my student, he was having difficulty focusing, concentrating. So I told him, I said, what you need to do is you need to take some turmeric powder, maybe about a quarter spoon, and you need to mix it with some water, and you apply it to your middle of your forehead, your third eye. Apply it there for about 10 minutes. Now wash it off, and that will help your third eye. Intuition, it'll help you to focus, it'll help you to bring yourself to a state of starting to do the things the right way. So he started to do that. And when he did that, then he reported to me afterwards that he was now getting better focus. He was now starting to line up a little bit better. As before, he was having trouble lining up and trying to focus, and his mind kept wandering to other things, and he couldn't focus, and he couldn't bring himself to do the right thing. And so this is why it's important to do that. We're talking about intuition. Your third eye, your sixth chakra is intuition. And if you're going to have problems with intuition, you're going to have a hard time in creativity, you're going to have a hard time in intuition, you're going to have a hard time in your internals working. What we call the dwelling of the Holy Spirit within you, you're going to have a hard time hearing the voice of God. So that intuition needs to be cleaned up for many people, because they are not being active, or they are not doing the process properly, and so they struggle with the focus. They struggle with focus, concentration. They find they can't focus, they can't concentrate, and their mind keeps wandering other places. So this is something that you need to do. And somebody asked me that what if they work night shifts, then what part of the day would they be visualizing? So I said, when you wake up, when you sleep and wake up, that is your alpha state. Whatever is your alpha state, if it's the morning hours or if it's the evening hours, if you're on night shifts or twilight shifts, then that is the time you should be doing your grounding and your visualization. That's very, very important. So, any questions so far before I pass the mic on to Rabbi Kefa? Powder, turmeric powder. I thought you thought power. Powder. Get some regular turmeric powder from any Indian store, and take a small amount of it, not more than a quarter teaspoon. Mix it up with water, and you put it on your forehead and let it dry up. It'll dry up to a powder on your forehead. Then just after 10-15 minutes, wash it off. And the effect will go into your third eye. And it will help give you better intuition. Okay, so I'm going to pass it on to Rabbi Kefa. And Ed is asking a question. Rabbi, my alpha state in the morning is super alpha. If I sit 5 minutes, then I will fall asleep again without thinking. Okay, yeah, I see what you mean. Eddie, what you're going to have to do is, the problem is this, that if you go to the bathroom and you wash your face, you have your shower and do your other things, you're going to be in beta state. And then of course you won't sleep, but you're then in super beta state, almost. So what you have to do is, perhaps when you wake up in the morning, and if you're in super alpha state because you feel that you sit for 5 minutes, you fall asleep, then my suggestion is this, that you maybe have some water by your bedside. And when you wake up, maybe have some water first. Try drinking a glass of water. And when you have the glass of water going down your stomach, it's gonna jostle that ship a little bit. It's gonna wake up the ship a little bit. It's gonna make it function, and you're gonna wake up a little bit more. Keep your eyes open. Don't close your eyes. One thing you can do, Eddie, is you can do your visualization with your eyes open. I don't know if anybody's ever tried it. Your eyes don't have to be closed for visualization. They can be open, and you can do visualization as well. Now, if you've got the darkness in the room and your eyes are open, that shouldn't actually be a problem. You should be able to do that. So I would encourage you, if you are finding difficulty or you're falling asleep, open your eyes. Leave the light off. Then you still have darkness in the room. Do your visualization with eyes open, so you don't fall asleep. So absolutely. So I would suggest that as a remedy to those of you who close your eyes and fall asleep. Keep your eyes open. Then you won't fall asleep. Then you'll be forced to keep your eyes open, and you'll be visualizing at the same time. So your mind is doing the visualization. Your eyes are simply, looking ahead, like into the darkness. So you have two things going on. That can also work. Absolutely, you can use the recordings I've given you, and you can follow those through. And where I say close your eyes, maybe you leave your eyes open. Leave your eyes open if you're finding difficulty to keep them open. But I found that if you lie down and do your visualization, you'll definitely fall asleep if you lie down and do it. But I found that if you sit up, then your tendency is you're going to be in a state of drowsiness, real drowsiness. So if you want to prevent real drowsiness, you can go into a slightly upper state. You can open your eyes, but then close the light, switch the light off, so that light doesn't affect your eyes. And then it might be better for you that way. Okay, so I'm going to pass it on to Rabbi Kefa. Todah for listening. Shabbat Shalom to you.
Todah HaKohen. Again, a great block of instruction, definitely process and procedure for us to follow as Israel. Dr. Bear, can I get a one? I want to make sure I'm coming in. As I stated earlier, I want to make sure that all of you make sure that you mark this room. If you want to mark this room and save it, so when you come up on your Power Talk the next time, all you have to do is go up to the top of this Power Talk link. You'll see it says up there at the top of your computer, it says follow with a little heart. If you click on that, you will lock in this room. So every time that you log into your Power Talk, you'll be able to, the room will pop up right up as rooms that I follow. When you go to your rooms that I follow section, you'll have this room saved in there. Empower yourself in the words of Jesus /Yeshua. So you may want to do that in the future going forward. So this will help you lock the room in. You have it saved. Excuse me. You have it added to your favorites. And that'll help you tremendously going forward. So that way, again, HaKohen has done you, he's shown great mercy because he had both rooms open this time. But I guarantee you next week, both rooms won't be open. So you won't be afforded this great, this great dish of mercy that has been delved out towards you. And then you'll be out there, loose chickens, and you're hunting the room down, you can't find it, all kind of messages coming through. So make sure you lock in this room, and you'll have it saved right there on the top. Looks like J-Meg has done it, to top of that J-Meg. Make sure you do that. Just click on that little heart. That's all you have to do at the top of your page, on your Power Talk at the top of your computer. Click on that heart. It says follow. That way you have the room locked in, and no worries going forward. Okay, here in North America, I would like to, in the spirit of Father's Day, because tomorrow is Father's Day. How many of you remember that? I didn't. But, I was reminded of that. My wife told me tomorrow's Father's Day, and I'm going to be a father, super happy over here. But it is Father's Day, and I do have a father as well that's still in the land, just still walking the earth. How many of you still have fathers right now that are walking the earth? Tomorrow's Father's Day, and in the spirit of Father's Day, put up a capital F if that's you, because you do need to make sure, we're told in our books that we're to honor our mother and our fathers. It's very important that we do so. We're to respect them and honor them. I guess I'm the only one with a father here. I have a father that's walking the earth. To God for your responses, by the way. My goodness. Always remember your father and your mother. If you don't remember anything, because they're the reason why you're here. They wouldn't be here without you. Without them, you wouldn't be here. So again, it's very, very important that we do honor our fathers and our mothers. Not only on this one day that America deems as a day that they set aside to honor the father, but you should honor and respect your father at all times. And even though, how many of you, you may, your situation right now may not be on best relations with your father and your mother. Maybe because they're a diehard religious, and I do see that. And one time or another, that was what I was dealing with as well. I mean, my father's my father, my mother's my mother. My mother, more so, she loved me, without conditions. Without conditions, she was just, super excited. I come from my mother, in my mother's womb. So, regardless of what I did, what actions that I took in my life, my mother always, had a love for me, regardless. But my father, my goodness, if I'm not following my father's footsteps, I may be seen as a rogue or some other choice words that he'd like to use it sometimes, or kind of just shunned away, because my father's a very quiet person. He doesn't say much, but he leads by example, I would say. He leads by his action. He lets his actions speak. Because my father, growing up, never really told me too often that he loves me. How many of you had fathers like that here in North America and around the world? Your father never really told you, like in words, oh, I love you, son, and embrace you and do all of that kind of stuff. Well, my father was like that. He never did tell me verbally that he loved me, but he showed me in his actions that he loved me tremendously. Now, in retrospect, and as I look back, coming into fatherhood myself, what type of father I want to be? I want to be both. I want to be the one that can, demonstrate love through affection and emotions and through words, and at the same time be that father that's going to show love through my example, how I live my life. You see, because what I understand is that not only your children, but people around you look up to you. How many of you know what I'm talking about? They look up to you. They see you as a leader. Even though you may see yourself as a servant, many folks see you as a leader because you have something that they want. You have something that they desire. Or there's just something different about you that just make people look at you. They look at you and they watch you and you're being monitored. I'm not talking about that, conspiracy theory mumbo jumbo and all this. No, but I'm literally talking about people in your circle, your sphere of influence. They actually pay attention to you. And they look up to you. They may not say, oh, you're my mentor. I thought you made a good point. How many of you in this room right now have a mentor? Put up a capital M. How many of you in this room have several mentors? Put up a capital M if that's you. You can put up as many M as you want. Anybody in this room, you have a mentor? You have a mentor? To God for that. Mentors are very, very important. Mentors are very, very important in you with your life. And meeting and being happy. Because at the end of the day, like I stated earlier, I want all of you to be happy. I want all of you to be super happy. I want you to live happy lives here on this earth. lives of happiness and of love. I mean, who sang that song? My father used to listen to it all the time. I hear it on 8-track. Love and happiness. Well, that's what it's really all about, to me, in my opinion. And of course, you throw in another, you throw in another piece. You throw peace into the mix, and you have a trifecta right there. But we should all be. I want all of you to be happy. I want all of you to have an abundance of happiness, abundance of love, abundance of peace. And mentors play a key role in that. You have to be looking up to somebody. And as you look up to somebody or some other persons, because you may have a mentor for different areas of your life. Different areas of your life where you're trying to be successful, you may need a different mentor. That's why I know a lot of you have several mentors. You don't just have one. You have many mentors that you look up because they already have what you want. What you have to do is follow that mentor, listen to him, his instruction, and you can get the same thing. Especially when it's dealing with the perfect law, because the perfect law don't discriminate against anyone. The perfect law will never come against you, just like Korah did. The perfect law will never come against you. Let me say that again. Now, can you come against the perfect law? That's another question you need to ask. But the perfect law will never come against you. And this is the mode and modus operandi that you need to all have for yourself. Is to never want to come against anyone. Here in North America, there's a big problem with, it's popular to be against something. You know what I mean? Instead of for something, everybody want to look at what you're against. Well, what are you against? Are you against abortion? And religion does this in a subtle way. You see it. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, I'm against Planned Parenthood. I'm against this. I'm against abortion. I'm against medical marijuana. I'm against marrying outside of your. You see what? Marrying outside of your race. I'm against. This is that force that you need to be told, that you need to run away from when you see this. I'm against. You need to be for. You need to be welcoming, all of you. Humanity needs to be a welcome. And that's what I love about San Antonio. It's a city of welcoming. We welcome all people. You see? We need to become people that are for. Maybe you were brought up in a home that was against. You're against this, you're against this. All of your energy was focused on what you're against, to where you never really have time to focus on what you're for. And religion will do that to you bigger than anything. How many of you see that in religion? Cohen's lecture was really spot on. Well, what's going on in 2019 going forward? Is you're being dictated, and you're so busy searching and so busy feeling sorry for yourself, feeling fear, that you never really get to really know who you are on the inside of yourself, because you're too busy trying to fix things from an outsider perspective. And this is why I named the title of my lecture today, The Master of the House. If I ask you this question right now, who's the master of the house? Can you give me some response, please? Well, who do you think is the master? What, in your opinion, who's the master? When I say master of the house, what's the first words that come to your mind? What's the first thought that comes to your mind when I say master of the house? Master of the house. Master of the house. Atara says dad. What's the first thing that comes to mind when I say master of the house? Any other takers? I like some, we're interactive here. You don't have to just sit and listen. This is not Sunday church, and this is definitely not Sunday Catholic church for sure. You just sit and listen. When I say master of the house, what do you think? J-Mag says man. Shut up for that, J-Mag. When I say, it's only your opinion. Don't be shy here. You can open up here. You run around and saying your mishpahah, your family, blah, 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 but nobody talking in the family. So you can get interactive here. There's no wrong answer. Your Messiah says Yahweh. When I say master of the house, Lion Princess says husband, master of the house, master of the house, master of the house, or master. Let's put it this way: master of your house. You see, because today I firmly believe there needs to be some reclaiming. Your Messiah says, I am the master of your house. Who is the master of your house? You see, the leader, J. Meg says. You see, it's very important for you to understand who is the master of your house. Master of the house. Who is the master of your house? Religion will tell you something totally different. Religion will tell you have to go seek for the master of your house. You got to go look for him. You have to look for the master of your house. You have to go find him somewhere. Or, another point I like to piggyback off of Hakoing's lecture, another point that religion loves to keep you in. They keep you in this state, a state of hope. I mean, you know what I'm talking about? Because you're hoping for the rapture to come, and you're hoping for, oh man, I want to be caught up. I want to be caught up in the clouds. Oh, I can't wait for that time. They leave you in a wait mode. Can't wait. I mean, I can't wait. Anticipation. I'm so looking forward to, when I get to heaven. This just, right now, it's giving me goosebumps right now. They leave you in a state of hope. I'm just getting goosebumps because I'm super excited about what's going to happen in the future. Heaven. When I get to heaven, what a day that's going to be. Do your little Christian dance. They leave you out projected in the state of hope to where you can't find the master of the house. And you're hoping that the master of the house is coming for you because you got to go look for him. When the master come and get me. The master of the house. Mentor. Neat. Now, another thing that's very important when you're attracting mentors to you is that, and I learned this lesson this week. Oh my goodness! And I give thanks to the universe. I give thanks, for the perfect law. Because, when you're out there, transmitting your vibration, your frequency, you're going to be surprised, and you shouldn't be surprised, of what you're going to receive from your transmission. You're going to receive exactly what your marks are. I'm trying to meet this mark of, financial independence. I'm trying to meet this mark of wealth, of riches. I'm trying to meet this mark of health and being whole. I'm trying to meet this mark of great relationship. And then all of a sudden, these things will be attracted to you. And I'm so thankful. In conventional and unconventional ways, these things will come to you. And when they do, you just give thanks. And you see it for what it is. It's the perfect law working within you. But you must understand that you're the master of the house. So as the master of the house, and as you're that individual that's out there seeking, mentors, you get the correct mentor, you see. Simha saying, my subconscious mind dictates to me my consciousness. Oh, indeed, Simha. Well said. So when you look at the master of the house, who is the master of your house? You are the master of your house. It's your subconscious that's the master of your house. So, I will say this and make this statement. Too many times the master of the house has been abandoned. We talk about not having a temple, but, think about it. You as an individual see yourself as a temple. The master of your house is within you. You don't have to go looking for it. And this is where religion just leaves you, short of a picnic basket. You're a couple of sandwiches short of a picnic basket. Running around in Judaism and all these other religions because they push you away from the master of the house. You are the master of your house. Think about that for a minute. You have the DNA of El Shaddai. You have the DNA of God within you. So why do you have to go looking for God in all these different places? You travel here, you travel there, you're all over the place. And you abandon the master of your house. Wow. You can look for the master of your house in many different forms. But at the end of the day, when you get to the meat and potatoes, you get to the grits and the greens, you are the master of your house. So let's just look at your house upkeep. How well are you keeping your house? You see, you can't You see, all of these other forces out here want to pull you away. And this is why it's very important that you begin to retain mastership. I want you to say this right now. I am the master of my house. I am the master. I am the master. Our Torah says they can't control you or destroy you if you are the master of your house. Again, that's the key. Tada, well said, Torah, but that is the key to it. And you see, if religions get a hold of, if these people that are sitting up in the Saturday church, Sunday church get a hold of this information, Haiti's church here in San Antonio will be empty. Because they realize I am the temple. I am the master of my house. What do I want for myself? Not, well, I need to please the pastor. I need to make sure pastor got all this acreage of land. I need to make sure the pastor got a new house. And in doing that, I'm pleasing myself. No, you're not. You're just being used and abused. Hoodwinked and bamboozled. Led astray. Like sheep led to the slaughter. Because why? Your mentor is the wrong shepherd. How many of you were part of that club for one time or another? And you know what? Yeah, chalk it up as experience. Because now you see it for what it really is. Chalk it up as experience. Master of the house, mentors. Stuff is very important stuff here we're dealing with. Question you need to ask yourself this day is, has master of my house been abandoned? No. Pray tell. Thank God we have found our mastership. I am the master of my house. I am the master of my house. Now you have to go back in and take dominance and take control. Just like the Torah just said. Well, the master, it's very difficult for people to come in and control you. Religion's going to have a hard time coming this way. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you can echo that same sentiment. Religion is stopped at the door. Religion is not welcome here. How do you gain experience? This is why don't sit here and throw a pity pat and a temper tantrum because, oh, God, why did you keep me in this religion so long? Why you didn't tell me this stuff when I was earlier? You have just gained experience. How do you gain experience? You have to go through some things. You have to see and experience some things and act out some things for yourself. So you can realize, oh, that's good, this is not good. Oh, that it was a great experience, this was a totally bad experience. And you will remember that. Israel. It's so very important. In the spirit of Father's Day, I'd like to make this statement. Someone said this about their father. They said, the greatest gift that my father has ever given me was that he taught me how to believe. Wow! I'm going to say that again. The greatest gift that my father has ever given me is that he taught me how to believe. How many of you want to say that for yourself? How many of you want to have that said about you fathers in the room? Master of the house. And we must do this as fathers, is that we must teach our children, everybody else around us, how to believe. Truly, belief is what? Within. You don't have to go searching for belief without believing yourself. When you can believe in yourself, like Torah says, nobody can touch you. No, don't tell them, I don't care what they throw at you. They cannot touch you. Negativity cannot faze you. Nothing can come against you. Because of your core belief. I believe. I am a believer in myself. I believe in me. Religion will have you go and believe outside of you. That's where they hoodwink you. Because you never begin to examine yourself. Master of the house. Somebody else has come in and taken control of your house. Not anymore. Not this day. This day going forward, You have just received your master's degree. Baruch Hashem. You have just received masterhood. You are the master. I am the master of my house. Now what are you going to do with your house, master? Some of you say, Rabbi, right now I need to do some spring cleaning. I got some summer cleaning. I'm opening up the windows, dusting off all the cobwebs. Baruch Hashem. Thank you to the universities. All of you know I'm very fond of Texas. Texas is my home base. Texas is where the master, Yeshua, the master, Jesus of Nazareth, has placed me in the exile, and I'm so happy. How many of you love the exile? I love the exile. I'm happy to be in exile. Baruch Hashem. So, of course, you know I love Texas. So here's my joke of the day. The joke of the day is titled Texas. And believe it or not, I'm having a Texas baby. Baruch Hashem. Here in Texas, San Antonio. A Texan buys a round of drinks for the entire bar, announcing that his wife had just given birth to his first child. A typical Texas baby. Baby boy, weighing 24 pounds. Congratulations showered him all around, along with many explanations of wow. 2 weeks later, the Texan returns to the bar. The bartender says, "Say, you're that father of the typical Texas baby that weighed 25 pounds at birth. How much does he weigh now?" The proud father answers, 18 pounds. The bartender, puzzled and concerned, asks, "Why? What happened?" He already weighed 24 pounds at birth. The Texas father takes a slow swig of his long neck beer, wipes his lips with his shirt sleeve, leans to the bartender proudly, and says, "I had him circumcised." Love that joke. Love that joke. Love that joke. I had him circumcised. That's a proud father right there. Proud Texan father. So again, Oliver gets that joke, right? You get it, Oliver. I guess the men in the room will really understand that joke a lot better than the women will. But yeah. So proud Texas father, has his son circumcised, which that will be done on this end as well, Baruch Hashem. So it's so very important. It's so very important that we look at, again, mentors are good, right? I understand mentorship is very important. Is that you must look up to someone for assistance, for guidance, for direction. But, what's more important is proper mentorship. And at one time or another, I thought Hagee was a mentor to me. And Hagee was not a mentor. You know what Hagee was? Hagee was a detour. Not a mentor, but a detour. Taking me away from that path that I was on. He was trying to detour me. Oh, no. No, don't follow the straight and the narrow. No, come over here to the curvy and the swervy. You see? So you're going to find out that some of your how many of you right now, at one time or another, you chose a mentor, and he turned out to be a detour? How many of you run into that situation as well? You ran into a mentor, you said, "Oh, I can look up to this person. This person can help me." Then you found out that this person did more harm to you than good. So you must be very careful of that. Yeah, mentorship is great. Don't just say, "Well, the rabbis told me just to go right there and get a mentor." No, you must attract and you must manifest the right mentor to you. That's going to be right for you. Retrofit. Right for you. That's very important, YouTubers. A lot of you surfing YouTube right now. You might not say you're looking for a mentor, but why the heck are you surfing into YouTube? Because you're looking for something. You need help with something. And YouTube is a great forum to find that. I was looking on YouTube for some garden stuff. You can find out a lot of great information on the World Wide Web. Am I right? You can get a lot of great assistance on the World Wide Web. Learning how to cook a particular meal I wanted to cook for the wife? Went right to YouTube, followed the instructions to the T. No problem. Garden work, under some systems of garden, went right to YouTube, no problem. So you're always looking for assistance. Whether you see it as a mentorship or not, but you're looking for assistance to help you, to aid you, to help you, at the end of the day, do what? Better your life. If I ask you this question right now, why are you in this room right now? Why? Can you tell me? Can you honestly tell me right now, why are you here in this Power Talk forum? Empower yourself in the words of Jesus, Yeshua. Why are you here right now? Why? You ever ask yourself that question? Master of your house, why are you here? Think about that for a minute. Some of you may have to think about that for a minute. And that's totally acceptable. Why are you here? And more importantly, you need to be asking this question to yourself. Why are you here? Why am I here right now? There's a billion other places I could be right now. Why am I here? Why? See? Gets to the grits and the grains now. See, because I'm not telling you to go look for something outside. I'm telling you to look within yourself. You see? You have to begin to ask yourself some very hard questions as the master of your house. This is all a part of the cleanup process. Person said, my father gave me the greatest gift that he could ever give me. The greatest gift that my father ever gave me was the gift, he taught me how to believe. In the spirit of Father's Day, learn something from that. Regardless if you see yourself as a leader, a mentor, or whatever you see yourself as, somebody's watching you. And this was the testament of your father's children, a child. Oh, my father, he taught me how to believe. Maybe your children turn up not to believe the way you want to believe, but at least you're teaching them how to believe, how to have peace, how to have love, how to have joy. You're not just telling them, you live that. You know, we don't go to your house and we don't see tables and chairs being thrown through the air, breaking a bottle glass and everything. Go to your house, it's a house of peace. This is so important. Because whether or not you believe it, somebody's looking at you, and somebody may be looking up to you. Other folks may be looking at you for the wrong reasons because they're looking to find fault in you, just so that they can come against you. You take that word against out of your vocabulary. As the children of the books, as descendants of Abraham, you shouldn't be against nothing. Abraham had his doors open to all, and that's another thing I want to talk about today. Always have your door. Closed doors gets nothing accomplished. You gain no experience from closed doors. Have an open door type policy. Don't be against anyone. Oh, I don't like you. You slam the door in people's face. Just because what? They don't believe the way you want them to believe? Just because they're not doing what you think they should be doing? Let me see who read their Parsha, or even know anything about our history. What's one of the greatest gifts that the God of Israel name me some gifts that the God of Israel gave Israel, the children of Israel. Anybody name me some gifts? Name me some gifts that were given to the children of Israel by the God of Israel, by the Master Yahweh. Anybody? What gift have you been given as descendants of Abraham? One in particularly. What great gift that you have been given? You can name many. You're thinking, and I appreciate that. Thinkers. The gift of freedom, to top of that. Any other gift? The gift of dominion. What gifts have you been given? The priesthood, Eddie says the priesthood. That's the one I was looking at. This Parsha talks about, Parsha Korah, it talks about all of these, this negative bad things that were done by bad individuals that had to be countered. Negativity always needs to be countered. Always understand that. Don't leave negativity as an open door. You got to counter it. Moses was the antagonist to the negativity. There always has to be a counterbalance, okay? You must counter the negativity. And you must see it for what it is, negativity. Now, how do you counter negativity? There's many different ways to do it. In each situation, you got to base it on a case-by-case basis. Can anybody tell me some ways of countering negativity? Give me some examples. If negativity comes against you, how are you going to counter it? Can anybody tell me? Give me some interactive today, baby. We interactive. How are you going to counter it? And for you YouTubers, it's not about picking up weapons and beating up somebody upside the head in the name of Jesus, or because the Holy Spirit told you to do it. Luxury class, Shabbat Shalom to you, luxury class. Luxury class says, remove myself from these people. Very wise decision, luxury class. How do you counter negativity? You remove yourself from it. That's one of the best ways to do it. You see, because as long as you stare negativity in the face, guess what? Negativity is going to get stronger and stronger because you're giving it fuel. But one of the biggest ways to defuse negativity is just to move away from it. Think about that for a minute. One of the biggest ways to diffuse anything that's negative energy, negative frequency, is just to move away from it. Boy, you diffuse it like you just poured water on it. Water from the Shemayim. Water from the heavens come down on that. This is why I'm not a big fan of arguing. I just don't do it. At the end of the day, how many of you are experienced in arguments? I'm telling you, I just don't do it. It's just, I've learned over time is that when you stand and you face negative force, you do yourself a disservice. You just move away from it. And thus you diffuse it and you bring peace to the situation. And you'll find when you move yourself, and don't sit there and just not say nothing, because that just fuels up the other side. It just seems to make them angry. How many of you, I've been there, done that, I'm telling you, in my relations, you sit there and you don't say nothing, you stare at the person, ooh, they just get madder. I'm telling you, you start to see the forces within them, and my goodness, they start to change form on you, and they just start to turn into this thing. We just call it a thing. You're like, wow, how could all of this come out of this person? This such a lovely person, but now this person is turned into, hell on wheels. So you remove yourself. Our Queen has taught us this several times, is you remove yourself out of the situation. Just totally move yourself out of it. Remove yourself. Just, if it means go and stay at the Motel 6, Holiday Inn, Motel 8, then that's what you need to do. Totally remove yourself out of the situation. They're finding peace. Because if you know anything about our history, before the Israelites would open up a can of, let's just say, a can of whip gluteus maximus, a whip ass. Before we open up the can of whip ass, what would we always do? What would Israel always do? Before we get ready to give you the smack down, what would we always do first? We would come to you with a treaty of what? Of peace, of shalom. Well, hey, can we make peace? And if you reject the peace, then all of a sudden you're going to get the can of smackdown coming your way. Smack down, beat down, and all that wrapped up into one. Always side on the side of peace. This will make you a person in your society and your environment to be looked at. It's because as we see world over, that's what's missing. You're the missing link, the peace. Many of you run around here saying shalom all week long. But there's furniture being thrown in your house and glass broken. Because there's total warfare going on in your home. This is why it's not important what you say, it's important what you do. You're doing this. This is why I truly appreciate my father. He didn't tell me much. Now he does in his let's just say in his wiser years. Now he does all the time. We hang up the phone. Hey, I love you, son. Before we hang up, I love you, son. I love you too, Pop. I love you forever, Pop. That's what I tell my Pop. I say, Pop, love you forever. Love you forever. He said, I love you, son. But my father, I appreciate him not telling he loved me in my younger years, but him showing me that he loved me. Him going out on that oil rig out there in the Gulf of Mexico and working all those hours. That showed me that he loved me. Provided that room, clothing, and shelter. Got a great education out of it. Book is here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But how many times have got the letdown by, folks telling you that they love you, but their actions are totally hatred. Oh, baby, I love you. Oh, honey, I love you, honey. You know I love you. But then their actions show you something totally different. So it's so very important that you see yourself as that leader, as that mentor, as the master of your house, as having a following, because believe it or not, someone is following you, and they look up to you. Question is, what are you teaching them? What do your actions teach? Your actions promote peace, love, kindness, joy, long-suffering, compassion, helper? So they should be promoting. So when someone makes a report of you, what are they saying? Well, the one thing that my father did teach me was he taught me how to love my fellow human beings. He taught me how to have a respect for those that are older than me, and respect for pets, plants, and animals. So respect for humanity. A love for humanity. To respectfully disagree and can still be friends. And to not come against anyone, but to be for everyone. Beautiful, isn't it? Not to come against anyone, but to be for everyone. If that makes you happy, I'm for it. If you're happy doing that, I'm for it. You may not agree with it, hey, but if that makes you happy, hey, I'm for it. I thought about that because I visited the island of Jamaica many years ago. And you're right about, no disrespect to the Jamaicans, if any of you have Jamaican descent, but when you get on that island, my goodness, the Jamaicans are the most laid-back people you're going to meet in the world on that island. It's only when they come to America that Jamaicans, my goodness, and my little joke about the Jamaicans, no offense, but I think this is a great credit to Jamaicans. Jamaicans in America, they work about 3 to 10 jobs. That's how they roll. Baruch Hashem. But you get on that island, Hakori. Well, nobody trying to get no job on that island. They all laid back, drinking beers. I still remember those beer bottles. I tried that beer on there. It's called Red Stripe. Ooh, they love that stripe. They got this beer on the island. It's called Red Stripe. But they sit there, they drink their Red Stripe. They're smoking their ganja. Running around here with a bunch of good vibes. They tell you, we got good vibes, all right. Yeah, they do got good vibes on that island. But I tell you, and then, the island, they get nothing accomplished on there because the majority of the people on that island, they have that mentality that Hakoni was talking about. They're just so laid back. Very friendly, laid back, docile, laid back. That's what you see. That's what I saw personally. I saw for myself. I was like, wow. Can't get on with a good business on this island because nobody want to do anything. Everybody just want to be laid back. Laid back. But you, as the masters of your house, you almost understand that there's work to be done. There's things that we want to get accomplished. I have goals. I have dreams. And all they want to do is go to these different, states in their marijuana smoking, where they go and they call it going into consciousness. That's what they call it. Oh, we need to become conscious mind. Conscious vibration. I'm like, man, what is all this doing to you? You lose your ability to have a thought, to have dreams. Oh, we must use our imagination, my imagination. But when you come out of that, then nothing's getting done. You're not doing anything. You don't follow. Yeah, you have these imaginations, but when you're finally marijuana free for a couple of hours, what are you getting accomplished? You're too tired because you got hunger pains. You're super hungry. So then you eat, so you never get time to, envision yourself doing great things and raising up a great society and giving back to humanity, because it puts you in a state of what? Of just nothingness. You're not even trying to get in the state of being. You're just waiting for the next marijuana session. You see? Well, what's going on over here in Texas? Everything is bigger in Texas. We're growing economies. Businesses are moving here. Mother Earth has given us infinite abundance from Mother Earth. Baruch Hashem. Our state alone, through the whole country, Jamaica, and prosperity and wealth and abundance and mindset. You see that mind control, and that's what happens. Marijuana will begin to take over your mind, and all it'll make you do is just make more. Oh, I just gotta have it. Oh, Mary Jane. They make songs about Mary Jane. Y'all heard those songs. Mary Jane, I'm in love with Mary Jane. Then you become in love with Mary Jane. And before you can't get on because you're in love with Mary Jane. You're not trying to, grow a business. You're not trying to mentor your children. No, you're too busy singing a song. You're in love with Mary Jane. As you develop, well, I guess we can sum it up in medical terms as an addiction. Well, you can't even realize self, you see. Little Class and Mary Jane would drive you insane. Insanity. You cannot even get on. That's another form of mind control, just like religion. Control your mind to where you cannot become the master. Oh, don't become the master of your mind, master of your house. Don't find out about what's within yourself, you see. You can't find out about your I am, the God within you. You see? Luxury Class, welcome to Texas. We welcome you. I welcome all you come live in Texas. Please come live in Texas. I'm encouraging you. Come to Texas. Businesses are getting super smart. They're moving out of California. You know where they're coming? To Texas, you see. Come on to Texas, Luxury Class. We welcome you. Texas is a big state. You got many areas to select from. Wherever you will find yourself happiness, come to Texas. Find your happiness, find your peace, find your joy, find your mate, find whatever you want to find. You can find it. Plenty of room, as Torah says. Come on to Texas. Go where you can find and you can get great opportunity for yourself. Maybe you want to start anew. Maybe that entails you picking up and actually relocating so that you can start afresh, start anew. You see, because sometimes you've got to come out of these environments that you've been put in. I'm trying to do the same thing with my father. I got to get him out of that environment. And believe me, I'm grounding that. I'm writing that in my script. That's being scripted right now. It's my father, he's got to come out of that Houston house in Houston. So all he knows that. Now he's saying to himself, oh, son, I was thinking about coming to visit, spend some time with you in San Antonio. Come on. You got to get yourself out of these environments to really be beginning to thrive and to start a new life, to infuse life and empower yourself. Empowerment sometimes requires you moving. We know the Master Yeshua. Let's just look at his life. Did he stay in one place, in one location? The Master was on the move. Am I correct? So we too, we need to be on the move. Movement. The Master was on the move. He didn't say, okay, no, disciples, apostles, my students, my rabbis, what we're going to do here is we're going to build a fortress here, this place right here, this is our location. We're going to map out this plot of land that's going to be for us, and we're going to put up these big walls, and nobody's going to come in, and we're going to keep everybody out. We're going to put bouncers at the door. We're only going to select these kind of people. You got to look like this. You got to do this. You got to use this paper towel on the Shabbat. You got to be able to bunch of mumbo jumbo. No, he was out. The Master was on the move. So you as the master of your house, maybe that requires you to be on the move as well. Who's to say you cannot have more than one location? If you're not happy with the one where you're in now, you can have many locations for yourself. If that makes you happy, if that gives you peace, at the end of the day, what are your default settings, Mishpahah? And I firmly believe you're attracted to this room. You manifested this room because you desire to have peace, you desire to have love, you desire to have joy, and you desire a form of love. You desire that. You want to manifest that. You want to take these characteristics I just named and you want to kick them up to levels on high. You soar above all. You're on eagle's wings, Mishpahah. Soar, fly high. Come out of this mindset of, oh, I'm low, I can never be nothing, I'm never going to do nothing, I can never accomplish anything. You're high flyers. You're high flyers, Mishpahah. This is why you're here. You continue to want to understand. Always understanding. Never saying, oh, I understand, but you're always understanding. I'm learning that. Is that you can always understand. We never understand, you see. Simha saying, it is nice to remember to say, I love and miss you before you leave your conversation with a person. See, because folks not all happy like you. So sometimes, you got to infuse and empower them as well. That's what I've learned. And believe it or not, I'm going to tell you a true story in a minute, but believe it or not, when you do that, you can manifest for other people that may be weak, may not even know about manifestation, may not know about attraction. You can help attract for other people if they have a belief in your words. Isn't that what the Master Yeshua did? Just like I said, the greatest gift my father ever gave me was the gift he taught me to lead. Isn't that what the Master did? But you got to believe in it yourself. And I'm telling you, let me give you this example. What happened in this past labor? There's this person, my goodness, this person literally said this to me. Oh, I'm depressed. I'm stressed out. I'm given up. I can't take it anymore. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to turn to. I'm in this situation. I have this problem and I cannot get out. There is no way out. I need money now. Or they're going to cut off my electricity. And I'm thinking like, wait a minute. All this negativity. Nothing that she said was positive. And so here we go. We have to empower. We are the people of the light. We have to infuse. We have the high frequency, the high vibration. This is put into action. This is true story for my life. So here I am. mind constantly. I'm in my subconscious and consciousness, man. It's beautiful. And and my desire is to just get in there and to live in that state of subconsciousness so I can be conscious. And I'm thinking, I'm sitting there listening to this woman. I'm like, all this negativity. What am I going to do with this? I got to confront this negativity. So guess what I began to say? I said, hold up, stop. I said, let's look at every one of your situations. Has not God taken you out? Everything that you were stressing for in the past, has not God made a way for you every time? And you're stressing and you're worrying. I said, don't worry. Don't stress. Don't have fear. Don't be in depression. Oh, my migraines. Don't do any of that. God has always made a way for you, and God is going to make a way for you this time as well. All you have to do is just believe. Maybe she didn't believe in God, but she believed on my words, Miss Bob. I said, don't worry about it. And I'm telling her about her past. I'm saying, every one of your situations you came to me to pass with before, God has seen you through every one of them. Hasn't He? And she's like, yeah. So I'm like, well, why are you stressing now? You do the same things, and God sees you through every time. So just stop all the stressing. Stop all the, migraines. Just stop. Stop it. Stop. I said, you don't worry. God is going to make a way for you. She believed my words. She might not believe in God, but she believed what I said. Because I came to her with the facts. I said, look at the past. Every time you stressed in the past, did not God see you through the situation? You're like, yeah. So then why are you stressing? Well, why? Just watch God work in your life like He always has. And she believed that. This is why the words that we say are so important. The words that we say to other people. How do we respond? How do we deal? How do we confront negativity? Do you bring more negative with more negativity? Then you're going to have a forest fire. You may have a nuclear bomb coming your way. And many of you can agree with me because you did that in your relationships, in your interactions, in your arguments. Oh, you think you're going to one-up me? No, I'm going to one-up you. You call me this, I'm going to call you that. And before you know, what do you got? Chairs are being thrown, glasses being broken. In my house, it was cell phones. You take my cell phone, throw it up against the wall. I'm like, my goodness, what's that going to do? So what I do, take her cell phone, throw it up against the wall. So we had two broken cell phones. What is that at the end of the day? Come on, man. So you must confront negativity. You just pure positive, high frequency, high vibration, knowing who you are within yourself. I am the master of my house. And I'm not going to let you come with this negativity my way. Let me infuse some positivity into you. Same day, look, this is what happened. So the woman, they're like, look, we get ready to cut off. Here is the power company. How many of you dealt with this one time or another? Here's the power company saying, look, we get ready to come cut off your water. No, they were getting ready to come out cut off her electricity. We're cutting off your electricity because you haven't paid your bill, you haven't owned up to your promise, and blah, 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 blah. So I say, what you have to do is you have to go out and take action. God says if you ask, you will receive. You have to go out and ask for help, and you'll get help. But you're not going to get help worried about being stressed out at home. So you know what she did? She put some clothes on. You know what? I'm going to go over to this place over here. My friends were telling me on social media that if I go over here, they will help me they can help me pay my electric bill so my electricity not cut off. And so my son's doing without all his machines that he needs on to survive. So she did. She took action. Pay attention. Take heed. Take a note. She took action. She went out and she asked for help from all charities. How many of you know America's one of the greatest givers in all of the nations out there? We're a bunch of givers. America gives. They don't care about your religion. You're a human being. You need help. You ask for help. Somebody in America is going to help you. Some company, I don't care, it can come from unexpected sources, expected sources, but you're going to get some help. What? I don't know what it is. People don't want to go ask for help. Is it pride? What is it? So this woman knows. No shame in her game. She went and asked for help. She did get help. They gave her a certain amount of money, but it still wasn't enough. And they gave her some food to top it off. And you come over here and get some food too. Some of these charities that are out here, some of these companies out here, they're giving back, helping the community. So, yeah, that wasn't enough. So she said, you know what? So I told her, I said, you need to go and talk to the power company yourself. Go show your, oh, but I talked to him on the phone. Blah, blah. No, you need to go show your face in the place. Go talk to these people yourself. And sure enough, she did exactly what I told her to do. She believed. If she didn't believe, she said, no, I'll just do it from the phone. I'm too lazy. I'll stay at home and just call her from the phone and blah, blah, blah. No, she went to the place. And get this. This is a true miracle. She goes to the place, and she sits down with the woman and explains the situation to the woman at the power company. And the woman says, oh, well, I'm looking right here, and it says, because she's on this particular plan to where, it's like a savings plan, but, you pay a set amount of your power bill every month. And I think her set amount, even if your power bill is under that amount, you still pay that set amount. So it'll take off from the times when your power bill is above that amount. You see what I mean? So they take a mean average, and they say, okay, you pay this amount every month. Every month you just pay this amount. And even though your power bill may be lower, like in the months of the wintertime, power bill is a lot lower because you don't have to burn so much AC here in San Antonio. Like I already told you. You come to Texas, you better have some good air, AC. If you want a great job, start a business as a airbag, heating and AC. You'll make a lot of money here doing that. So the woman was on this particular plan, and the woman at the power company, she's like, wait a minute, ma'am. I don't know why they didn't tell you this on the phone, but you have a balance of, you have a credit of $600. Because you've been paying that certain amount every month, and some months your power bill was lower than the amount allotted that you were paying every month. So you have a credit here. Take this voucher. She wrote her this voucher of $600, and I think she only had to pay $300-something for the bill, the monthly bill, before the power company was going to cut it off. Well, you take this to the power company over there in your neighborhood. You give them this voucher, and you'll be able to pay off what you owe, what you owe for that particular time, and then you have a surplus of $300-some odd. Man, she calls me on the phone. Oh, Lamont, you're not going to believe this. I said, I believe it. She said, you know what? I went to the power company, and the lady told me this. I'm so super happy. I'm going to be able to pay my bill, and I have a surplus. And I went to this other place, and they gave me some food. I was like, oh, Baruch Hashem. Thank you to God. I said, do you see? Now, why are you stressing? But the woman took action. I said, you see, give God for this miracle that just happened in your life. She said, oh, thank you. So do you see, Mishpah? Great miracle. But what had to happen? All that negativity, yeah, she was attracted to me, right? Because I have the answer. I am the answer. I am a helper. You see? I write that. I say it in my script. That's part of my affirmations. I am a helper. So guess who's going to come to you? People who need help. Don't close the door to these people, Mishpah. You have the answer. Now, the quick fix could have been, no, let me just give her the money out of my pocket. She can pay me back later. What good is that? She don't see the miracle in it. That now maybe she'll believe more, you see? She'll believe. She'll have a positive mindset about herself. That God will see her through. She believes that. I'm just the go-betweener. Baruch Hashem. I'm a helper. You can infuse people with power to where you can see miracles happen in other people's lives, not just in yours. But you can attract for other people. You can manifest for other people. I saw that this week. I was like, wow, this is great stuff. Thank you to the universe. Thank you for the perfect law. This stuff, it works. And this woman seen, she don't know nothing about perfect law, but she believed. You know how I know she believed? She didn't say, Lamont, I believe. You know what she did? She took action on what I said. I want to encourage you all this day. We have the greatest gift that's been given to us. And I'll read it from our Parsha. greatest gift that's been given to us. What gift do we have? Some of you stated it already. Numbers chapter 18, verse 6. And I, behold, I have taken your brothers, the Levim, from among the children of Israel. To you they are given as a gift from Yahweh to do the service of the 10 appointed times. As a gift. That gift don't stop. We don't have a 10 appointed times today, but we still have to give. Did Yahweh give us a gift and take it back? He's not like that. Some people call that an Indian giver. You give and then you take it back. No. Because the Indians were given many gifts. And then, the pilgrims took them back. So do you see it, Mishpahah? You have the greatest gift that's been given. It's the Levim, the priesthood. How are you using your gift this day? Great gift. We've been given this great gift. Some of you don't use the gift. Some of you shun the gift. You don't want the package. You send in the package back. Post that. Send back to addressee and all that, like they do in the post office. Use this gift that you've been given. This gift is a gift that keeps on giving. The priesthood is the gift that keeps on giving to you. I'm a witness to it. And then through what I've learned from the priesthood, from the sons of Aaron, I've been able to be a gift to other people. And it just goes on and on and on and on. It's infinite, Mishpahah. This is real. I've seen the perfect law work through me to help somebody else that don't even have a clue about perfect law. But they happy today. I'm telling you. They have that AC pumping today, because it's hot here in San Antonio today. Well, the AC kicking today, and they're not worried, no migraine, no stress. Do you see? This is real. This is real life stuff, Mishpahah. No mumbo jumbo here. This is real. It's proper mindset. For those that don't believe, you can teach and help them believe through your words. Because they might not believe in God, but they'll believe in your words. Why? It's because you're saying every morning in your affirmations throughout the day, I am a helper. Who's saying that? Anybody else saying that besides me? I am a helper. Is there anybody else in the room? Then what can you anticipate attracting to you? But people that need help, they're going to come to you. Or you may see them with that third eye. And I'm teaching my daughter this. I gave her some money. I said, you know what? I want you to use this money, and when you see somebody that you think needs this money, you just give it. Don't say nothing. Just give it to them. And look at their face. And watch them get happy. Little things like this, Mishpahah. I'm teaching it to my daughter now. She's like, wow. She's like, okay. When you begin to teach them little things like this, if you're saying you're a helper, then you can anticipate people coming to you for help. And don't close the door in their face and say, why are you coming to me? Well, you've been saying the affirmations. You are a helper. So people are going to come. You're going to attract people. People are going to be manifested in your life that need help. You have to help them. Just like I did with this woman. Help them to do what, Mishpahah? Help them to believe. In who? In themselves. That woman had to put on her clothes and go to the power company and talk to someone herself. I didn't do it. I just instructed her. This is what, and she believed what I said. You go over there and you talk to these people. Look them in the eye. Sure shooting. Oh, you have a surplus, man. $600. Why? And she's like, well, they didn't tell me this over the phone. You see, some of you are missing your blessings because you don't take action. Don't be lazy. Some of you are missing out on that infinite abundance is because you don't take action. Action is key. Regardless if you fall on your face 15,000 times from taking action, guess what you just gained? You haven't lost anything. You gained experience. Gain experience this day. M. Hokma told me that this morning. Gain experience. That means take action. Whether you fall on your face or not, you get back up and you gain more experience. Then you are successful. That's how you become successful. If you close your door to experience, you will never gain anything. You'll never accomplish anything. Open the door, master of your house. You must open the door. To who? To yourself. To self. To I am. To subconscious. Open that door and want to dwell in there. You'll see your life change in ways that you won't believe. You'll see you be able to help people. I'm talking about miracles, manifest miracles in their life. When that happened to me this week, I was like, you know what? I get a taste of what the Master Yeshua was doing. I just got some crumbs from the table. I was like, wow, this is good stuff. I realized how powerful I was within myself. I am the Master. I was like, wow. Look at what I just manifested for somebody else. The I am within me. The Master was a mover. So will I, Rabbi Kefa. I will be a mover as well. I will be a mover and a shaker to everyone that's around me. I'm not going to close the door because my forefather Abraham didn't close the door. So I won't close the door. I'm not slamming the door in the face of people. No, get away from me, you vagabond. No, I'm like, you're welcome. You're welcome. Come on. You're welcome. Come on. You are welcome here. How can I help you? Because I am a helper. And that action this week has brought me more infinite abundance in my life because I've masterminded with some, I don't know if he's in the room, but through the Kohen, we've masterminded attracted some other things in some areas that we want, that we are getting fulfilled in our life, and seeing these, our journals that we're writing in our journaling, we're lining them out. And that's happening before our very eyes. And I'm super excited. Super excited to be a part of RSAHK. I tell you, this is great stuff. I'm telling you, this way of life, the way we live our lives, it all starts with you within yourself. Don't look on the outside, look within. You start understanding that you are the master. You are. But for a long time, your master has been what? He's been abandoned. You abandoned the master because you are looking for the master. The master is within you. You are the master of the house. You're the master of your house. Now, how clean, how dirty your house is, that's going to be on you. How much moving of the furniture you're going to do, that's going to be on you. That's up to you to decide. What are you going to do? How are you going to do it? Why are you doing it? You're a helper. I am a helper. I am abundant. I am infinitely abundant. I am whole. I am complete. I am riches. I am wealth. I am prosperity. I am an awesome father. You see? That's within you. You don't have to go Google that. You have to get within in you and see that. And you know what you have to do? You have to begin to believe in yourself. I'm going to say this. I am a believer. I believe in myself. I believe in myself. You must believe with it. If you don't believe in yourself, you're not going to believe in anything. You're not going to be a believer in anything. And this is one of the things that the Master Yeshua was trying to tell the people. You got to believe within yourself. What do you think? What do you want? It's within you. That's what the Master was doing. He do these miracles. People got to eat. People hungry. Are you hungry? Do you want to eat? Do you want to see? Do you want to be cured? There is no dictatorship here. It's not a one-way. You see, you're the master of the house. You have complete control. You don't have to go look for control. Control is within you. What do you desire? What do you want? What do you need? What do you dream of? What makes you happy at the end of the day? What gives you peace? Well, I don't know what I want. Well, you need to ask yourself, what gives you peace then? What makes me a peaceful person? What brings me joy in my life? Then you know what you want. You know what you need. Because that's what source energy wants you to have. And that's going to vary amongst the camp. That's going to vary amongst each and every individual. Amen. Nobody's talking right now. This is not a chat room. This is actually in the middle of a lecture. You can stay put and listen if you like. So this is very, very important to understand. So very important to understand and grasp. Is that God is within you. You don't have to go hunting down. It's already within you. You just have to believe in yourself. But we've been told to do away with self. We've been told, oh, you've got to put self to the side. Put self to the side for what? What else is there if you don't have self? You have mind control. Oh, you got to follow this, and you got to do this, and you got to jump over this hoop, and that hoop, and that. What is that? At the end of the day, what is that doing for me? You must look within yourself and truly be honest. If you can't be honest with anybody else, you must be honest with yourself. No need seeking and searching for everything. You've been doing that for a long time. That's not working. You're running this, you're running that. Now run and open the door within you, master of the house. You are the temple. You have the DNA of El Shaddai. Why are you going to look for El Shaddai if you have his DNA? Where's the Hey, can anybody tell me where's the DNA last time I checked? Isn't it not within you? DNA is within. You don't have to go without. Oh, I got to go look over here, over there. Talk to this pastor, talk to this preacher. He's got the answer. Da-da-da, blah, blah, blah. You have the answer within you. Wow. Master of the house. How many of you now are you're the master of your house? How many of you? I'm the master of my house now. And I'm not relinquishing my master's degree for anybody. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I've done that for a long time in my life. I let other people be my master. Not anymore. That's stopping. The buck stops here with me. I have to go back and take control. I am taking control. I am control. I am dominion. I am multiplication. I multiply. I don't divide. But in closing, I'll say this: is what's important. What you have to understand is what our Kohen was talking about. In order to really harness self, you must spend time with yourself, and you must be careful who you keep around yourself. You understand? This is why I truly now see why I spent a lot of time by myself here in San Antonio. I see it. I had to spend that time by myself. That was some good time that I spent by myself. Not having a wife. I wasn't really by myself. I had Pharaoh with me, my dog, but by myself. I needed that. I really did need that time. Because who are you going to talk to but yourself? That was some good time. So for some of you, you're shunning the very thing, the very situation and environment that you put in being by yourself. Let me give you some words of encouragement this day. Don't be quick to rush into another relationship, but the relationship with yourself. Some of you saying right now, oh, I'm lonely. No, you're not. You're only lonely because you haven't opened the door to the master of the house yet, to yourself. You understand what I'm saying? You hear that many times. Oh, Rabbi, I'm so lonely. I'm so lonely. I'm alone. It's because you have yet to understand and believe in yourself and to know yourself. How many of you today believe in yourself? How many of you believe in self? You believe in self. How many of you? You say, Rabbi, I believe in self. You're a believer in self. Stop for your responses. This is important stuff. If you don't believe in self, I mean, how can you expect to manifest and attract anything in your life? Because there's no belief. What did the Master Yeshua say about belief? Oh, you of little faith. Oh, you of little belief. If you just had to believe the faith of a mustard seed, just that kind of belief. If you don't have belief, then you're out there in the wind. And guess what? As much as religion touts belief, can you believe it that there's no belief there? Think about this. Think about this for a minute. Remember we talked about earlier, they'll talk about belief, but their action is beliefless. Think about that for a minute. As much as they say and shout from the mountaintops on Sunday and Saturday church, oh, we believe. Do you know there's no belief? Action of zero belief. But they shouted from the mountaintops. Oh, what do you ask them, well, what's your religion? I'm a believer. In what? In such and such religion. Then you have yet to believe in yourself. Think about that. Take that to the bank. You're a believer in what, though? In what? Believer in what? They have yet to say in themselves. And that's where belief really starts. Think about that. And the Master Yeshua was drilling it into the people of his time. Is that you have to believe in yourself. In order for you to believe in me, first yourself must believe that I can do what you want me, what you believe in. Think about that. Wow, that's heavy stuff there. But when you grasp hold of that, the world is your oyster. The world is your oyster, Mishpah. The world is your oyster, and you can ride that oyster shell forever. The world becomes your oyster. Think about that for a minute. I saw that on display this past 6 days later. This woman, she had zero belief. She was stressed out, busted and disgusted, broke and choked. I was like, wait a minute. That's not your state of being. That's your state of mind control, but that's not your state of being. So I had to put her being into action. Because believe it or not, every human being on the face of this earth has a being to them. They do. They have a being to them. So you have to reverse engineer their being because they can't do it themselves. You IT experts. And if they have just but a little bit belief, this woman had the belief of a mustard seed. And guess what? She's got a surplus on her power bill now because she had the belief to go act upon the words that I told her. And she acted upon it and it worked. And guess who comes to for help now? She comes to me. And that help comes in the form of what? Of more belief. You just go take action on this and watch it happen just the way I told you it's going to happen. Just like the blind man. What did the master tell him? Oh, do you want to see? Okay, go over here, take this mud, spit, take this mud, make some mud, put it on your eyes, wash your eyes, and you'll see. I'm paraphrasing. But what if the man said, look, Jesus, I don't have time to be going, put this mud on my face. I just had my face done. I'm not dirty in my face so that I can see. That's stupid. How about you just, bada boom, bada bing, I can see. I don't want to go through all. You see what I mean? The master was testing his belief. He was pulling from him belief. He was making him believe when he couldn't believe. Oh, what do you mean I can see? I'm not going to ever be able to see. Well, if you follow this action, you'll see. Believe in my act. Believe in my words. Take action upon my words and you will see. Beautiful, isn't it, Mishpah? The same thing we can apply today in 2019. If you are the master of your house. On that note, I'm closing. Be the master of your house. I'm turning it back over to Hakoi. Be the master of your house. Baruch Hashem. Thank you to the universe. Simon saying, you bring God the Creator to the higher heavens and earth down to earth when you believe in yourself and no doubt yourself nor doubt yourself. How can the Creator of heaven and earth help us when we have more doubt and fear? Is not an option, but certainty is belief. To talk with that, Simon. Powerful words, but when you put these powerful words into action, it becomes unlimited power. Because it comes from the source. Back over to you, Hakoi. You all have a wonderful Shabbat. And go out and do great things for great people. And do good things for good people. And do awesome things for people who can't even see the light of day. That's what they need. You are the light to the world. Make that an application and a demonstration. Over to you, Hakoi. Have a wonderful Shabbat and have a wonderful 6 days of labor ahead, Mishpah. And happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there. Happy Father's Day.
Todah for that, Rabbi Kefa. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers tomorrow, and happy Father's Day every day. So, okay, we'll conclude the lecture, and just remember that when you write down your affirmations, make sure that you always preface them with the I am. Mostly, I am ones will be very powerful, and then of course there'll be others that you may not be able to preface like that, so they'll have to be prefaced differently, but they always need to be in the present tense. Just remember that, always in the present tense. So with that, I will leave you, and we'll let you enjoy your Sabbath this side of the pond. And we'll say a new day is about to start. I guess the Sabbath is over at the other end of the pond. And so enjoy your new week across the pond. I think there's elections, kind of pseudo elections brewing in the UK. And Boris Johnson appears to be the favorite so far. See where they go with that. We also had a couple of ships that were damaged, blown up in explosions in the Gulf of Oman, I believe, somewhere near the Straits of Hormuz. That sent prices up on the oil, and I think the prices will probably warrant further on the upside. So there's trouble brewing on that end, as you probably have heard through the news, and there was talk of war, rumors of war. So beware. Okay. So with that, Shabbat Shalom, Shalom, Shalom.